He who fights with monsters might take care, lest he thereby become a monster. If you gaze for long into an abyss, the abyss gazes also into you. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to your January soul session. I am Princess India, if you're new, and if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and what's not, or whatever. If you're not familiar with what my soul sessions are, they are your spirituality as well as personal development readings in which we look at the energies for a given month. Almost lost some cards there. For the sole purpose of giving you clarity, guidance, advice, and anything that can help you on your overall growth and journey and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, I'm going to go ahead and jump into you guys' cards and see what's going on for you all for January. However, if you have watched the signs prior to yours, then you know that I don't know why I want to say this word. I'm just going to go with it. I resurrected the card from you guys December reading, and I was calling them Surrender December. It was a collective reading, and each sign got a card. And the purpose of doing that was to uncover something that would behoove you to leave behind in December or in 2020. And if in the event it ends up coming up, let's just go ahead and take both of those. Ends up coming up in you guys spread overall, then we'll go ahead and include it. But anywho, the card for you all, Scorpio, was Surrender the Drama. And it says, no matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. And in the collective reading from last month, I spoke on a tornado. That was kind of the vibe that I got with it. Scorpio was more or less, whenever there's chaos and calamity kind of going on around you all, it's more or less getting sucked into what's going on around you, almost like a tornado. More specifically, what I was thinking about as I was prepping to, turn on the camera and record this, I thought about a quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, right? One of my, I can't even say one, he probably would be my favorite philosopher ever. It's neither here nor there, but it's a quote. I wanted to share it with you guys. It says, he who fights with monsters might take care, lest he thereby become a monster. If you gaze for long into an abyss, the abyss gazes also into you. The latter part of that quote is one that people are most familiar with, but I felt the need to share that with you all because I feel my understanding of this energy that lies in this card aligns more with this as opposed to the tornado that I felt last month, even though in essence they both are rather similar. But it's more or less what would behoove you all in 2021 is to relinquish the influence and the effect that other people have on you, meaning bringing you into low vibrational behavior, or pettiness or one-upmanship or anything of that sort. So it's more or less grounding yourself and being clear on your baseline and not allowing that to be affected by external circumstances, because much like Nietzsche says, is when you start to play like tit for tat with people, you end up by default turning into them, and you end up being no better than they are. So this is more or less speaking of taking the high road, if you will. So if that comes up again in you guys' cards, we'll reference that again. But anywho, your bottom of you guys' deck, we have the 9 of Cups in the reverse as you guys' underlying energy. Ooh, so Scorpio, I had to take a deep breath on that one. With the 9 of Cups in the reverse being you guys' undergirding energy, there's a certain level of, how do I want to say this? let's just give it a simple word. Let's just say disappointment. There's a level of disappointment. I feel it's more or less something you guys were working towards up to this point, and this could be something like personal work. This could be career. This could be friendships. This could be relationships. This could be a myriad of different things. But whatever the case, something that you guys put a lot of time and attention into, something that you guys were very much invested in, if you will, didn't quite pan out the way that you desired, if that's making sense. And it feels to me almost like the rug getting pulled from under you. I'm sorry. I need to wet my whistle. My throat just suddenly started getting dry. I apologize, Scorpio. But it feels very much to me like the rug being pulled from under you. It's almost like the energy that I feel this, and what I'm seeing is literally like an escalator. So if you would imagine going up an escalator, and when you're like, you know, maybe 3 steps from the top, it just stops. You know what I mean? So it's like this abrupt stop, and you weren't really expecting that, because you were expecting it to do what escalators do, which is to bring you to the next floor. So it feels almost like it's like a just cut to me. But whatever the case, it's a disappointment, and I feel it's almost like a feeling of being jilted, if you will. And I only say that because of the abruptness. I feel that things were going in a particular direction, and something happened and it just halted, and that's left my Scorpios feeling a sense of disappointment, if you will. And that's your underlying energy. So that's influencing what we're getting into in your cards. Oh, that's beautiful. Your central energy is the Magician. And I'm so glad that that came up, because that comes into what it is that we're talking about this month. This is challenged. Oh, speaking of pettiness, your challenge card is the Petty LaBelle card, the 5 of Wands in the reverse. Just saying. So it's some inner conflict going on. What this is saying to me with your central energy, Scorpio, I can get straight to the point here. When we think about the Magician card, or the Alchemist, however it is you want to look at it, we're talking about the 4 tools of creation, which would be, or the, 4 bodies of man, if you will. And that's your mental body, your emotional body, your will, your etheric body, and your physical body, right? Now, with this 5 of Wands in the reverse, it's more or less your intentions are, I don't want to say skewed, but I don't know why marred is my word this month, but it's almost not really knowing where to channel your energy. Going back to this 9 of Cups in the reverse here, and I'm desperate to turn over these 2 cards that came out for you guys, past influence. But with this 9 of Cups in the reverse here, and this 5 of Wands in the reverse, this is saying to me, because of the emotional block that this disappointment has created, that would be the source of why it is that you guys are having trouble standing in your power, or properly directing your intentions or your will, however you want to look at it, of what direction it is you guys are going into. And I can tell you already that and it's 2 ways we can look at this, but the whole premise of this month is about Scorpio stepping into their power. Because where this steps back into this drama card, surrendering drama, with this 5 of Wands in the reverse, there's 2 ways of looking at it. In the bigger, school of thought, mirror effect level type of stuff, we would say that any chaos and calamity that exists outside of you is only there because it first existed within, right? So that's one way to look at it. But another way that we could look at it as well is that the reason why you guys are experiencing chaos within is because of what's existing without. However, if we take that road, it still brings it back to self with a sense of personal accountability. And the fact that even if there is chaos and calamity outside of you, it's the individual who is electing to allow that chaos external to affect one's internal world, if that's making sense. Now, your past influence for your energy coming out of December into January. Wow, we have the 6 of Wands in the reverse and the 7 of Wands in the reverse. Oh my. That's interesting. All of these wands cards. So here's the deal, Scorpio. With how it is that you guys left out of 2020 and left out of December, with the Six of Wands, it's more or less feeling like a failure. It was really hard for me to say that. It's like I felt a heaviness in my chest. It's coming out of 2020 or December, however you want to perceive it, feeling like a failure. And it goes back to that vibe I was feeling of like working really hard for something and just not getting. It's like almost being passed up or something slipping through your fingers. It's something along those lines. And then also with the Seven of Wands in the reverse, it's again, you guys not really standing up for your truth or for what it is that you believe in. And it's feeling kind of at the victim, as a victim of your experience or your circumstance. And I also want to say like shame too. It's like this vibe of almost feeling as if like people are gossiping and this is the thing, Scorpio. This is like if I were to use a psychology term for what I'm feeling, because dude, I kid you not, it's like suddenly, I don't know if you hear it in my voice, but it's like suddenly there's like this shaky, very nervous, self-conscious feeling that's coming over me as I'm looking at this. And the term I'd say I can use for this, there's a theory with, well, it's within a theory in psychology, but it's a concept that's called the invisible audience, right? And that's when we use things like, you know, they, them, right? They think this about me. They probably feel this way about me. And it's like, who is they? You know what I mean? It's an invisible audience. Like it's not real people, but it's like when things like that cross our mind, typically when we say they or them, we really mean like one person. And we're kind of throwing that out as like a blanket term, you know what I mean? And it's one of those automatic thought type of things where you would never really notice that you're doing it unless someone calls you out on it. It's like, you know, you do a presentation at work and I don't know, you fumble over something and you're talking to a friend and it's like, yeah, you know, they probably think I'm a total idiot. And, you know, unless the person you're talking to is like, who's they? And it's like, you know, all of them, who's all of them? And usually a person is going to pause because it's not going to be the instant reaction of like all of my coworkers, right? But now you knowing that whenever that happens, you know, like they is typically one person. And if we go a little bit deeper than that, my friend, who they really is really you. So, because it's a projection, you don't know, none of us know what other people truly think and feel about us because people can say anything, right? Of what they think and feel about us, and they could lie, you know? It doesn't, there's no way of really truly knowing the inner workings of another human being's mind, meaning their intentions or their motivations behind what they're doing. We can diagnose or track behavioral patterns that lead back to personality and disorder and inherent character traits. But as far as the inner workings of a human being and what they're thinking or perceiving about things, that's something we could never know, right? So to say something like they think, you know, I'm an idiot, that really speaks to, because you think that they think that, it's really speaking to how one feels about themselves, right? Now, why do I say all of that? I say all of that because looking at the Six of Wands in the reverse, feeling like a failure or like a false victory, or with the Seven of Wands in the reverse, feeling disempowered, or like people are talking about you or they're gossiping and all this other kind of stuff. I don't feel any of this is actually even happening. I believe this is all the invisible audience. Like that's the vibe I get, and this anxiousness I feel come over me. I feel as the byproduct of thoughts that are kind of running through you guys' head of what you think is happening, or how you believe people are perceiving you, or how you believe people um, are judging you, if you will. And I feel this all goes back to this Nine of Cups in the reverse. So, whatever this is that didn't pan out the way you guys had hoped, you know what I mean? It's almost this is literally the root of this chaos that's happening inside of you guys. But with the Magician, it's saying that you guys are the only ones who have the power. What is going on with my voice? You guys are the only ones that possess the power to turn this around, because I feel the two things that are out of alignment is emotionally, I feel you guys are still stuck on and ruminating on something that transpired in the past. Like it's being stuck in a disappointment, if you will, something that went awry. And I feel that's what's actually crippling you all. I feel any chaos or unrest that's occurring in your external world, like your life outside of you, much like I've said for many other signs, I just feel that that's simply a symptom of the deeper problem, meaning that there's you guys are intended to move forward, right? But like I said in the beginning, there's difficulty that Scorpios are having in trying to figure out what forward is, or where forward is, or, you know, how to even get to that point to begin to unearth that. And I feel that's because this disappointment you guys have experienced has crippled you, you know, and it's still being stuck in that space. And that's what's inhibiting you guys from moving forward. So even if mentally there's a desire to move forward, or you're making plans to move forward, right? Or you're thinking about it. And even with your physical body, if you're putting work towards that, the thing that isn't is that your intention is not set, right? You're not using your will, because all of these cards are speaking of disempowerment. Like this is a person who is no longer in control. So whatever it is that happened, much like this drama card, whatever it is that happened with you guys, it's almost being a prisoner to the experience, if you will, and being disempowered to it. However, the whole purpose of this month is for you guys to stand in your power. Because what this would be saying, Scorpio, and I hope that this is making sense, because I feel like this energy is just all over the place. But what this is really saying is that the only reason why you're stuck or perceiving yourself this way, or not knowing how to move forward, is because you've allowed yourself to be put under submission of your experience, if you will. It's like this is, and I know that that may sound kind of cray cray to say that, but just like how I said, if there's drama going on outside of you, we have a choice of how we elect to allow that to affect us. It's something very similar to that. It's a decision that was made to posture oneself in the position you all are in at present. You know what I mean? I hope that that makes sense. Your underlying energy, wow, is the Eight of Wands in the reverse. All of this fire energy, this is bananas. And this is a card of being blocked. And that's everything that I was saying here. It's like you guys are really feeling like you cannot move forward. But the whole thing I want to drive home here, Scorpio, is you guys aren't really stuck. Like you're not stuck in real life. You know what I'm saying? It's a perception thing. Because of this perceived failure, right? You're perceiving it as a failure. Some of you are thinking other people see you as a failure. You're thinking other people are like, you know, it's almost like this thing of feeling like people are laughing at you and like, ha ha ha, and you're this and you're that. But what I'm seeing is this is all something that's happening in a person's head. You know what I mean? In reality, this isn't really happening. Like people, and I can say that, dude. It's like a lot of times people are concerned about like what other people think and feel about them or how people perceive them. But the truth of the matter is, majority of humanity hates their life. They're very disappointed in themselves and their lives, and they desperately try to distract themselves like from the peril, misery, and woe that of which is their existence. Whenever a person does something that's embarrassing or a celebrity gets exposed, it's like people are going to, not all people, but extremely miserable people are going to tack on to stuff like that. They're going to chatter about it like a bunch of cackling hens, you know what I mean? And then the next thing you know, they're on to something else because it's a temporary distraction away from the marred misery of which is their everyday existence. But it's like we're the ones a lot of times who punish ourselves a lot longer than necessary. It's like we make one mistake or we embarrass ourselves in front of people, and people may have laughed when you tripped. You know what I'm saying? They very well may have. They may have went home and told their husbands and wives about the person that tripped down, you know, in the grocery store, laughed about it, and then moved forward. But, and I say that hypothetically, but there's a lot of times where there's people who will still be carrying that time that they tripped in the grocery store with them for 5 years and allow it to affect them so much that they no longer wear flip-flops in grocery stores. If they realize they have flip-flops on, because let's say hypothetically that's how you tripped, if they realize they have flip-flops on, they would elect to not go to the grocery store or go buy other shoes because they're terrified of that happening again. Now, mind you, I'm saying this hypothetically just to illustrate how we will oftentimes alter our behavior because of things that we experience that we value in a not so positive way, or dwell on far more than people outside of us are. You know what I mean? So what this would really be saying to me, and I know that's kind of cray cray to say to Scorpios, because I know the whole stereotypical thing of Scorpios and grudges and revenge and all of that stuff, you know. But it's like what I really feel this is saying, Scorpio, is the main thing that disempowers you guys, or this illusion of being blocked, lies in this invisible audience. It's like however it is you're perceiving your life, your experience, the way that you think other people are thinking about you, whatever it is that transpired, it's like how you guys are seeing it is not how it actually happened. So it's a skewed perspective. Now, if we couple this with not bringing other people into the experience, meaning that there's not anyone like the friend that I said that would call you out and be like, who is they? If there isn't anyone to proverbially call you out or to offer you like a contrasting perspective on your situation, that's how a person can ruminate into this tornado of this thing that's not even really happening, right? And in turn, limit yourself, because that's really what I'm seeing. It's like this block that's occurring, and I'm not speaking for people in like 3D situations, like someone who's, you know, resonates with this, but it's like, no, I really am blocked. It's like I'm working at this job and I can't find another job, and I can't quit this job until I find another job. So I really am blocked. I'm not talking about a situation like that. This is very much an inner world thing. This is Scorpio, whoever would resonate with this as a Scorpio, having an inability to move forward in their life, to go in another direction, being unable to change, right? And not realizing that the whole reason why they have this sensation of being blocked is because of something a maybe buku long ago that embarrassed them, disappointed them, caused them to lose hope, you know what I mean, made them feel extremely disempowered. And it's that same energy that's being carried forward and not seeing that, if that's making sense. your above energy, dude, this is all wands. This is cray cray. You guys above energy is the 4 of wands. So it's more or less you guys are desiring stability, you're desiring harmony, you're desiring union within yourself. You know what I mean? However, man, this is just so bananas to me that there's so many wands cards here. But the whole thing is, and I forgot to say that the magician is Aries energy, but Scorpio, man, I can't stress enough the importance of free will. You have a choice in the matter. You get to choose. And something I haven't had the opportunity to say in some time, those of you who've been with me for a while know I always used to say this, but the greatest superpower but that's possessed by all of humanity, that's more often than not overlooked, is your ability to choose. That is a superpower, but it's a superpower that can only be utilized in the present moment. It cannot be used anywhere else. It can't be used in your past. God can't even change the past. It can't be used in your future because the future isn't here yet. And the future is merely a byproduct of the choices that are made in the present moment, you know? So there isn't any external energy force field, right? Or hex or anything that's causing Scorpio to be stuck. It's just Scorpio is stuck because Scorpio is perceiving themselves that way. It's like, I don't know how to move forward. Okay, well, I mean, figure it out, make a choice. It's like, if you are where you are now, it's like, where do you want to go? That would be question number one. It's like, what do you want to head in the direction of? Because I feel it's almost like what would really be entrapping you guys would be trying to vindicate things that are already gone, if that's making sense. It's like, I don't know how to move forward because, when I was 5, my dog died and I just ain't been right since. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, all right, cool. Well, cryogenics ain't like the wave yet, so you didn't freeze the dog or nothing. So I mean, the dog pretty much like dead. I know that's really sad and all, but it's like, you could get another dog or you could choose to not get one. You can choose to stay being sad about that and accepting the fact that you haven't been right since, or you could choose to talk to somebody or work with somebody or read a book on how to, the 5 stages of grief and how to get over the loss of a pet. That's a choice you can make. You know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily have to stay where it is that you are. But I feel like with all of these wands cards being in the reverse, man, this is saying that you guys possess the power, especially with the magician being here. It's just you're not utilizing your will, and it's almost like making excuses as to why you can't. And you need to know that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. And then we have the Hanged Man moving forward, and that's Aquarius energy. That is so interesting. So here's the thing, Scorpio, this goes back to the concept of, do you believe that your life is happening to you, or do you believe that your life is happening for you? Going forward, you guys can make a choice. You can make a choice to surrender to what is, right? And wait until clarity comes, meaning doing some introspection, trying to figure out who you are or what you want or what you desire or what direction you want to go into, right? And being in control of your experience moving forward. Or you guys can elect to be at the will of your experience, which would mean staying exactly the way that you guys are now. This is very much a person who is at the will of their experience. And it's wanting to be happy. But the thing about it, dude, it's almost like masochism, because with this Four of Wands being here, it's you guys desiring that happiness and that stability and that balance, right? You're wanting that. However, because you're not using your superpower of will, intention, choice, right? It's almost as if it's like a form of self-torture. It's like you, like almost like being in front of a bullet, but that's what I'm seeing, like bulletproof glass, right? Like being in, I don't know if you guys ever watched that thing on Netflix called You, and they had like the little glass cage thingy. I'm seeing something like that. But it's almost like Scorpio not having eaten in a week and making this awesome like steak dinner with like all the fixins and making this beautiful table of all of this stuff. And as soon as the table is set, you walk into this glass room and you lock the door and you sit in front of that glass and you stare at that food. You know what I'm saying? And then saying, I'm starving, but I can't eat it. And it's right there. But it's not being consciously aware that you locked yourself in that room. Like that would be the subconscious part of this. That would be an illustration of what self-sabotage looks like. Because I feel in a Scorpio's mind that resonates with this, and I pray to God that this is making sense, Scorpio. But in the Scorpio's mind that's experiencing this, the only thing they see is themselves locked in this proverbial room in this, 5-course meal on a table in front of them. And it's the thought of who would do that to a person? They know I have not eaten in a week. Why on earth would a person subject me to having this food in front of me and knowing I can't touch it because this bulletproof glass is between this 5-course meal and me? It's like, who would do that? That's just so dirty, right? But it's like Scorpio not realizing they were the ones who locked themselves in that room, you know? And I know that may be kind of difficult to kind of process with that, but that's the best way that I could illustrate it. It's just a form of self-sabotage. You wholeheartedly will believe that you really are blocked, that you're really stuck in this situation. But Scorpio, I assure you that's not the case. This is just the byproduct of a disappointment that you guys experienced in the past. And it's almost like a self-protection type of thing. It's easier to say that, I want this, but I'll never have it. You know what I mean? Or people look at me like this, and that's why I don't try. This is why I don't bother. You know what I mean? It's easier to be in that self-imposed victim state. That's easy, right? But you're being offered an opportunity this month to know that if you guys, whatever this Four of Wands represents for you guys, you can have that. You literally could. Much like how I said with Libra, you guys could literally have that. However, you have to disengage from this really like dramatic, stagnant, like just stuck energy. You know what I mean? And you have to figure out where you want to go, what you want, whatever this Four of Wands is for you, and get on one accord and go in the direction of it. You know what I mean? I hope that this makes sense, Scorpio. I really hope that it does, because I feel like I've said a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't know if it's translating properly. Hello, Scorpio. I'm back again because I ended this reading with intentions of playing out the remainder of you guys' cards. What is going on with my throat? Oh my God. I'm so sorry, Scorpio. I ended this reading with the intention of going over to my membership sites to play out the remainder of this spread. However, Scorpio, the moment that I turned off the camera, I just could not. It's putting me in a personal state of unrest to not finish this spread on YouTube, because I know, times that we're in, not everybody and their mama is a member that is watching this, and not everyone is going to go to the extended. And just this particular message, man, it feels too much. Of course, the extended is still going to be you guys 2021 overview, but I really felt like I needed to finish playing this out because it's just the energy I feel with this. It's very unsettling for me, you know, because it feels very stifling. And I say stifling not as me reading the energy, but I mean it breaks my heart that there, you know, could be Scorpio people out there dealing with this. Like it feels like the person in a situation such as this would feel very stifled, you know what I mean, very oppressed, very just stuck and helpless, if that's making sense. And I don't know, I've never done this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the spread like we do it in the extended, because I cannot, I literally can't. It's really bothering me of what it is that I'm seeing here. So in our extended, I, make this, it would typically be a 9-card spread, but right now it's something like 12, 13, 14 up in this piece. But I take the card that's at the bottom of the deck, which was the 9 of Cups in the reverse. And I also look at the card underneath that for context, which would be the 3 of Cups in the reverse. So, okay. All right. Scorpio. So here's the deal. So again, with this underlying energy and a deeper perspective, this is something that disappointed you guys a lot. It's something that did not pan out the way that you desired, right? And like I was saying before, when I was talking about when I was using the whole analogy of the person in your life that would like call you out. But I was saying, if you don't have anyone around you, then you're kind of ruminating over this. With this 3 of Cups, I see this. It's almost like this emotional disappointment for you all is perpetuated. It's almost you guys being stuck in this disappointment because there isn't an alternative viewpoint. So the only thing that you're left with is you know how they say that quote that says that, there's 3 sides of the truth. There's your side, my side, and the truth, like what actually happened. You know what I mean? I think that's of utmost importance to understand, because I feel, Scorpio, granted, yes, you were disappointed. Something did not pan out the way that you desired. However, with what it is that you experienced, you elected to perceive it in this particular way. It's imperative to know that that is just a perspective of what you feel happened. However, how it is that we perceive what actually happened says a great deal about us. So going back to that analogy that I was saying of like doing a presentation at work and saying, they probably think I'm an idiot. They probably think this, and this. The important thing to note is what that invisible audience, the they, it's important to note that whatever you're projecting on to other people, as far as how they're perceiving you, it's a necessity for you to see that that's your perspective. That's not actually what they're thinking, And I feel that's really what the source of the problem is here. It's being stuck and not being able to move forward because the only thing that you're seeing is this skewed perspective that's very much related to a skewed perspective of a situation that's birthed from a skewed perspective of oneself, if that's making sense, right? Because when I say like with the 6 of Wands and the 7 of Wands in the reverse, how that's, just this oppressive, disempowered, failure, low self-esteem kind of vibe, like low self-efficacy, you know, what it is that you desire to do, not believing that you really have what it takes to get there. You know what I mean? But all of this is just kind of swirling around in the same vibration, and it's one's emotional state that's stagnated and skewed, right? It's influenced by a skewed perspective that is what's preventing you from feeling equipped or qualified to move forward from this, if that's making sense. Now, the other cards you guys have, wow, we have the Nine of Swords in the reverse, the Ace of Cups in the reverse, the Four of Cups, and the Five of Swords. Dude, Scorpio, this whole row of how it is that you guys left out of 2020, how you left out of December. I mean, this really breaks my heart, dude, because I know this is hella rough. You know, it's being stuck in a mental prison, literally. Mentally, it's being stuck, right? To where it's almost having a limited perspective on what it is that's actually possible for you, because it's not being able to get past what it is that you're seeing in front of you. So it's almost as if, and I even say the same thing with the Ace of Cups in the reverse too. It's emotional disappointment. It's something not panning out the way that you desired, or like I was saying with the escalator, it's something you guys were hoping to go a particular way, right? And it didn't pan out, but it's the equivalent, Scorpio, of that escalator stopping and you guys just standing there. It's not walking up those 3 steps to get to the second floor. It's literally just sitting there. You know what I mean? And being downtrodden at the fact that I was so close. I almost made it to the second floor, you know? And it's like, I don't know how I'm going to get up there now. It's almost a vibe like that. But the whole thing is, you know, a person could look at you and say like, well, why don't you just walk up the stairs? You know, I get why, because it's like I say, that low self-efficacy. It's this perspective you guys have had, and I don't feel it's just with this situation. Like where I feel, Scorpio, where this is like, and this is going to sound cray, but where this is a proverbial blessing in disguise, if you will, lies with this Hanged Man. It's like all of this is happening and coming up is because Spirit is trying to show you guys how much power that you actually have and that you actually wield, and that you have the ability to shift this situation. But it's needing you to see that it is your perspective on life, it's your perspective on your past, it's your perspective on what you've been through, your perspective on yourself, how all of this is being reflected into your external experience, your connections with people, and how you're perpetuating almost like an unfinished business. If I were to get into Gestalt therapy here, it's like an unfinished business disappointment wound perspective, you know, skewed self-concept. It's like all of that is consistently repeating itself. And every disappointment or whatever doesn't pan out or whatever, it's looking at every situation from that same mindset. It's kind of like a broken record, if you will, you know? And I think it's gotten to the point now where it's like you guys are under duress, you know? But the whole thing is that it's like you've hit a brick wall, because with this Eight of Wands in the reverse, it's giving you an opportunity to change, you know, like to approach this from a different way. But it's gonna require, like with the Hanged Man, that's a card of surrender. You know what I mean? It's a card of sacrifice. In order to gain that perspective or the blessing, or however it is that you want to look at it, it's gonna require one to sacrifice something. It's an exchange. You have to give something up to get something new, you know? With the Five of Swords underneath that, it's more or less speaking to it's almost, dog, I could literally say, just looking at this last row, this Four of Cups, this Eight of Wands in the reverse, and the Five of Swords. Much like, and I think I said this with Taurus too, is fighting a losing battle. And sometimes you have to have the wisdom to know when it's time to quit something, you know? And I don't mean like quitting, giving up in life or anything like that. It's like, I mean, being cognizant of when one is beating a dead horse, you know, when one is perpetuating chaos, you know, and it's like, just like I said with that Nietzsche quote, it's a lot of that. It's almost Scorpio, literally. I hope and pray that this is coming out, y'all, because I still feel like I did before. Like, what am I even saying? But it's almost like, Scorpio, if I were to make this a lifespan thing, what this would look like to me, every single person in your life that hurt you in the past, right? Those monsters, it's almost as if you've become them. And now you're perpetuating the same maltreatment, abuse, or abandonment or discard, how people treated you in your past. It's almost as if you've internalized their chaos, you've internalized their drama, you've internalized their perspective of you, you know, or how you perceive that they see you. It's internalizing all of that, and it's almost abusing yourself the way that all of these people have. It's talking to yourself in your head the way that people throughout your life have, you know? But there's still being this glimmer of hope within you that truly desires stability, harmony, no chaos, but it's not seeing how you're creating and recreating that same chaos that you guys have moved away from. And it's almost as if, like how I said, the rug being pulled from under you, where this is really a blessing in the bigger picture is because when we are not aware of what's happening underneath it all, right, is when we become self-sabotatory or we're a danger to our own progress, right? When we put whipped cream on shit, you know, it's like when stuff starts getting hot, the whipped cream is going to melt away and you're going to be left with shit. This is an opportunity that you're being given to deal with your shit once and for all, and to surrender that, to surrender all of the things that have gone awry, and to open yourself up to a new perspective and to stop fighting for something. And I said this with another sign too, to stop fighting for something that is done and dead, you know, because this really, it's like a cycle, man. And it's like ending up in situations repeatedly where you're always thinking back to what you shoulda, coulda, woulda done, you know? And it's like once and for all, it's like cutting ties with that. If you want harmony and stability in your life, then bump all of this stuff back here because that's irrelevant. Like bump those people, what they think, what they feel, all of that is completely and mostly irrelevant. You have the power now to alter the course of your life, to change the way that you think. That's doable. You can do that, you know? But it's like, it's almost like an energy where, and this is so ironic, it's like, I feel like you guys need to be alone. However, no, it's like, it's almost like the right people you would have to be around, or a right particular type of person, you know, life coach, therapist, you know, pastor, rabbi, something, you know what I mean? Because you need someone to speak life into you. I think that's imperative. However, it's like, it's more or less like just people who are contributing to this continuing, those are people you guys would have to cut ties with, you know? But, and I don't even want to say that, Scorpio. I mean, I don't want to say like, don't cut off toxic people. But I feel that that's something you guys may have always done. It's like, and it's similar to what I said with Libra, where I said with them, y'all may be Libra, Scorpio cuspers, but I said with Libra, it's like going through life and being like, they're an asshole, they're a jerk, hate that job, don't like that, moving on. But never taking the time to see the connections in these things. You know what I mean? And I think it's like with the Scorpios who resonate with this, it's almost like something disappoints you or something doesn't work out or a person's a jerk and you just cut them off, and it's never really learning what the lesson is. It's like you may consciously tell yourself one thing, but subconsciously it's a whole nother thing. This is another thing that's showing you something about yourself, right? That's less than stellar, or is confirming that or reinforcing that. And I feel you guys have gone on for so long like this, that you are mentally trapped, you are emotionally stuck. And being mentally and emotionally stuck is what's preventing you guys from seeing any way to move forward, even though you want it. So it's almost like doing something counterintuitive, where it's not about dwelling on the past. It's not about, trying to vacate into the future, but it's surrendering in the present moment. Because I feel the only person that can give you guys clarity at this present time is spirit. Because I feel it's almost like spirit is trying to show you all an alternative path or an alternative way of thinking that you all did not know existed, but it would require you to surrender yourself, like fully, which is like laying down the sword, like letting it go. Whatever it is that y'all are fighting for, even if it's against yourself, it's relinquishing it, surrendering to the moment, to the situation, and just hearing spirit, or waiting until you get an alternative perspective. Because it's almost like every way you guys have tried up to this point, it isn't behooving you. It's being trapped between your past in a direction that you're not even knowing what that is or where that is. And this is a beautiful thing too, because this is almost like a person who has come to the end of themselves, which is a beautiful place to be in this awakening process. Is when you've exhausted all options and you've come to the end of yourself, and it's just like you have nowhere else to turn but to spirit, where it's just like, spirit, I don't know no more. I've tried everything and I don't know anymore. Like Socrates says that the beginning of wisdom is to first admit that you know nothing. And that's the place that we have to be in order to embrace this path. It's like you have to empty yourself of everything it is that you have tacked on in junk in this life, and be willing to hear the truth. But as long as we have all of this noise and what it is that we think life is, or what it should be, or what our parents said it is, or what society says it is, all of those things become a block to the truth, to the light, So with this is a beautiful thing in the bigger picture, but I know that being in it is very, very difficult. But literally, Scorpio, this is about you guys coming to a place and doing something that seems very counterintuitive, that you've never done before. There is no steps to this, If we were to put something that's a little more 3D and tangible to it, we'd really be talking about self-forgiveness. Because a lot of this energy is based in the external world, man. A lot of this has to do with other people. And that's not where y'all need to be. And I know I always talk to Scorpios and say how they're very cerebral, like the way that I am, very, very cerebral. It's like Scorpio's like tangible, like what's the steps? Tell me what the steps are. But this is one of those things where there are no steps. It's pulling you completely outside of your comfort zone, you know, and following instincts. I hope that that makes sense, y'all. I really hope that it does. Y'all let me know in the comments, man. I hope and pray that that makes sense, Scorpio, because I'm feeling all of this. I'm seeing all of this. I just hope that I'm conveying it in a way that's conducive to progress. I really hope that I am. This is really speaking of a transformation for you guys mentally and emotionally so that you can chart your way forward and putting you back in power of your life. But I feel you guys are so disempowered, you know? It's relinquishing your power to your experience, you know? I just hope and pray that that makes sense. I really love you guys. I really hope that this helped. Now I'm really going to go over to Vimeo and do you guys 2021 extended. I hope that this extended reading helped you guys out. I love your faces. And hopefully I'll see you guys, you know, sooner than later, my friends. Love your face, Scorpio.